As the month of darkness continues, I've received word that my next game to discover is going to be delivered by a very special guest. That's right, the Lord of all destruction and darkness, Cthulhu! That was underwhelming. I'm sure the game will be terrifying, though. Let's discover Cthulhu saves the world. The game begins with a cutscene explaining who Cthulhu is and where he comes from in case you're an uncultured swine. A nice touch on the part of the developers that shows their level of concern for my own stupidity, only matched by the load data options. I don't think I needed to worry about that, but thank you for the warning. We start a new game and Cthulhu rises from the depths, ready to destroy the world! Whereupon he is promptly defeated, his power sealed away by an unknown stranger, and he's washed ashore. The narrator explains that it would be impossible to regain those powers unless he were to become a true hero. Cthulhu then breaks the fourth wall, revealing that he can hear in the narrator, listen in to what he told the player, and he will now become a true hero and regain his power, and thusly the adventure begins. What gives, Cthulhu? Isn't this supposed to be scary? A game is not scary just because you're in it, especially when it's a game with an absolutely irreverent attitude towards the fourth wall. As you head along the beach, you meet Umi, a girl obsessed with sea life, the ocean, and upon seeing him, Cthulhu. We have a groupie. The classic group of adventurers tries to stop us, the healer, the warrior, and the thief, and as much as they try to stop you and your powers are sealed away, you're still the all-powerful Cthulhu. They reveal the existence of a shrine with a powerful sword of heroes. We fight our way up to it, only for the sword to reveal not only is it sentient, but it's a sword's sword. A guy that uses a sword is a swordsman, so a sword that uses itself is a sword. Having the sword on your side doesn't make you a true hero, according to the narrator though, so Cthulhu sets off to deal with a zombie outbreak in the next city. Upon seeing the city, he orders that we are not to harm the walking dead unless we must. They are a perfect form of insanity, doing what their hearts desire freely, and he finds them adorable, claiming they simply want to dance. A cultist is already trying to clean up the town, and she eagerly joins the party, helping us to stop another cosmic horror, Nyarlathotep, yeah, you try pronouncing these things, that is running the town, using the zombie for its own nefarious goals. Upon its defeat, the zombies all turn back into good zombies that really do just want to dance, so Cthulhu was right. The party goes back to town to celebrate becoming heroes, and the sword isn't allowed in the bar, but without caring in the slightest, our other heroes go on without him, until the narrator reveals Cthulhu is still not a true hero. Frustrated, but determined, he heads off to the next town, passing through the ghost forest where one of his exes is hiding, the Ape Princess. Umi has a fit about her existence in an incredibly yandere scene, before leaving the woods to discover what heroic acts might be needed on this side of the rather small world. There's a rumor about cows being abducted by aliens, but that's so ridiculous that even the characters say that it's bullshit. They go to check on the farm anyway because there are no other leads. Everything seems peaceful until you go to inspect the cows and are pulled up into an alien spaceship. Up in the ship, an adorable green cat is waiting for us. He wants our help to overthrow the ship and stop using it to destroy planets. This is the start of my frustration with the maps. Every map is complex and twisting, with layers above and below, areas that can only be reached by taking staircases to other levels and backtracking to another stairway, and little hidden corners. I'm not saying it's well designed, though. It's instead more complicated. There's no way to tell where you've been, where you're going, where you need to be. Every area looks the same, and maps come down to point yourself in a direction and run down a path at random until you find the way out. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it takes forever to find your way out. Luckily, they cap the number of encounters in an area so that around the same time it starts to get insultingly easy to fight there, you stop encountering fights. While that's great, it then leaves you wandering blindly with nothing to interrupt the sensation of being totally and helplessly lost. You make it to the bridge after an hour of wandering blindly, where you fight off the cat's evil twin. Before you can take the spaceship and use it to fly around the map, Umi presses the self-destruct and crashes it into the river. The bright side of this accident is that it lets us reach the next town, Kingsport. Everyone in the town is sick, and we must travel to the water shrine to obtain the magical healing water and save the town. The dungeon has changing water levels, plenty of backtracking, and an old man with Alzheimer's and short-term memory loss. He's your classic hero and joins the party because he thinks he knows us. With the town saved, the narrator finally calls Cthulhu a hero. Overjoyed, he tries to use his power, and nothing happens. The narrator explains that's because he's not enough of a hero yet, and when pressed for why, the answer is because I'm a narrator and I say so. So, we must go do more heroic deeds. There's a rumor of an evil dragon hiding in a volcano by a nearby village that's threatening to wipe out the whole area. Now, up until this dungeon, the game has been easy. I have not had to grind for any area, and as I go from dungeon to dungeon, I'm on or above level for the enemies upon entrance. And I was on normal difficulty, not easy for once. But as soon as I hit this area, I have to save after every single fight that I win, because there's about a 15% chance I'm going to win the next fight. It turns out I'd missed one of the secret extra dungeons that is never mentioned. You have to travel to a corner of the map through a small passage in the mountains to find this last hidden special dungeon. And I wouldn't mind if it made the game easier or just gave you extra items and upgrades like all the previous ones, just a reward for finding it. But instead, without that hidden dungeon, you're so far behind in level suddenly that the story dungeon is literally impossible. That's not how you handle or treat a secret dungeon, but once I gave up, cried myself to sleep, and looked up a walkthrough the next morning, I found it and was on level to continue. The dragon goes down easily once you make it through the dungeon, and to save his own life, he joins your party, letting you fly across the map. Following another lead, you head to Innsmouth to investigate the town. Anyone who knows this town from the Lovecraft's horror stories knows it's not safe for outsiders, but you should be fine for Lord Cthulhu, right? Wrong! We're attacked in the middle of the night because another horror is trying to take over the town from our hero. We go, and we smash him up, and Cthulhu is declared a true hero, able to regain his powers. He then turns all his allies insane and promptly destroys the world. Game over. But that wasn't the ending you wanted? When it isn't, the narrator is pissed, but changes the story so Cthulhu stays a true hero through the power of friendship, love, and all the cliches. So instead, someone raises the evil city of, please don't ask me to pronounce that, looking to destroy the world if Cthulhu will not. You must battle through the city, fight the false Cthulhu golem, and end in defeating the eldest of all elder gods. We have saved the world as Cthulhu sets off into space, asking Umi to come with him for he loves her. So I think we all can tell, this is a comedy game, not a horror game, and one that will exceed your expectations for it. When you usually think RPG, you think of something that's going to be long and tedious. When you see RPG Maker, you expect simple. When you see Cthulhu, you expect horror. Instead, you get a complex, unexpected game that will make you laugh and never outstays its welcome. The complexity in the leveling system is also really deep. Every level you always get more health and mana, but then you get to choose between two upgrades. Every spell has two versions that you can choose based on your playstyle, and you can choose whether you want to focus more on raising their health and armor, or their other skills and defenses. And there's a ton of little pieces of humor scattered in there that I didn't list because I think you should be able to discover them for yourselves. If that didn't make it completely obvious, get this game. It's only $3 on Steam and less if you wait for a sale. Get it and let it overcome all of your expectations.